You should let me bring my motorcycle out.
I should kill you first.
All right. Well, I tried.
Anyway,
Introduce yourself for me, please.
I am Brock Yates Jr., owner, conspirator, and head cat herder for One Lap of America, Tire Rack One Lap of America rally around the country. And we're visiting here at Hallett for what I think is like our, it's got to be a 15th or 20th time.
Wow, awesome. He's been here more times than I have. That's, I'll catch you though. I'm coming quick. That's fantastic. Brock, I have so many questions, I don't know where to start.
Well, start with one, and we can go from there.
So, you've told me, I had Tolly here, and that's an interview everybody will see, bringing it around to Hallett. Do you have any memorable experiences, or one of the first times you were here, or like you said you spoke with Tolly?
Well, I met Tolly in 1984 in the first One Lap of America, which was a rally around the country. And Tolly was a Cannonball veteran, which he was the guy that ran the original cross-country race.
I didn't know that Tolly did that.
And Tolly is a bon vivant and is always kind of around in the periphery of motor racing, either as a vintage racer or as a gentleman racer. And but the most memorable thing, I met him and we were talking, and he had some issues during the event, something about picking up an underage hitchhiker and carrying her across state lines, and had to explain off the Mann Act to the policeman. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But had a nice lengthy conversation in a hotel, and he complained about the ADL, and I had no idea what that was. And what's the ADL? Totally, he says the Anti-Destination League, the people that block the left lane and get in your way and inhibit your progress. And I've been using that ever since. So that was my first introduction to Tolly. In '89, One Lap was, I think it's fifth year.
That's when I was born.
We were running around the country, and FCCA was our sanctioning body. And we showed up at Watkins Glen and various racetracks, and we had to do non-competition events for points. Regularity runs, TSD rallies.
What is TSD?
Time, speed, distance.
Okay.
Over a known course, you had to average a known speed. And the cast would change along the way. It was pretty complicated. I never did it very well. And we did autocrosses and low-speed events. And anyway, we arrived here, and this was supposed to be a coned racetrack. We were going to basically slalom around 1.8 miles of Hallett. Well, word is that Brock and Tolly kicked all the cones down before we arrived.
Your father?
My father.
Okay.
And so we set up our first point-to-point FCCA style time trial, where we started at start-finish, and we drove around to, I think, the bitch, and we were timed out. And we were running as fast as we could. I was in a Saab 9000 Turbo chasing a Buick Grand National powered station wagon driven by a rally champion and Tom Grimshaw and others, and Jim Buffum and things like that. But John Buffum. But anyway, nobody died.
Good.
Okay, we all had a great time, and that began a new era of One Lap, where we went from kind of gentle, low speed car exercises to running on racetracks.
Okay. And so they kicked the cones down at what location?
Here.
So this was
the
origin of
the modern One Lap.
Wow.
And so, over time we moved away from the TSDs and the regularity runs and the hill climbs and things like that, and moved to a more racing centered event. And so now, since then, we've been to about 90 racetracks around the country.
Wow.
And it's an 8-day rally where we, in the old days we'd go, 700 miles every night. Actually, in the old days, 700 miles was a short night. Now we're trying to keep it under 600 or 700 miles in a night. So again, we've been doing this for far too long, and over time the routes have gotten a little shorter. The cars have gotten significantly faster.
Certainly.
But the people remain incredibly friendly, incredibly sportsmanlike. They're here for all the right reasons. It's not a serious motorsport event so much as it's I think, a proper motorsports event. You're putting in context or not in context, putting the right emphasis on what the sport should be. It should be fun. It should be challenging. It should be competitive, but it should be friendly.
Friendly for sure. And I believe that the event you have here, for myself, like, I'm attracted to it because I like the variety of the grid you have. It seems like you can be an everyman and show up with an Elantra and still be part of this. And then having the opportunity
Did you see the Rambler wagon?
Yes, I did. Yeah. Another perfect example.
Yeah.
Actually, he just passed, or was ready to pass, one of the Porsches, and that was what they were talking about downstairs. They couldn't believe that was probably the first time in history and that's ever happened. So it was quite.
We've had a lot of incongruous passing.
I believe that. You had mentioned that the cars have gotten faster over the years. I recall a story about early cannonballing when some of the first fast cars was kind of introduced, and we had to slow it down we had to change because somebody was going to get killed.
Well,
and
you mean in the proper cannonball?
Well, in proper cannonball, but for that as a reference point, did you, at one point during your tenure with One Lap, go, man, these cars are in a different league today? Like, you saw something lap in a way that it surprised you, like the generational thing. It's hard because every year everything gets a little better.
Right, and I'm scared to death of the cars because the horsepower wars have taken on a whole new dimension. I tried to move the event to a more B-spec or slower group of cars. B-spec or the minis and fits and things like that.
We had those out here a couple weekends ago.
Yeah, and we had a class of them one year, and they just had the best time.
Yes.
And if everybody's in the same slow car, then what the winner becomes the best driver, rather than not the most horsepower.
Certainly.
And it would, to me, that is the goal. Nonetheless, even with these giant, stupidly fast cars, the best drivers always win. I mean, Tom O'Gorman is a national champion. He's extraordinarily good. He's one of the great unfound drivers, and he's winning, I believe, right now in a Porsche. And Abe would be winning. He won in every car he's driven in so far.
Well, that is a statement.
Yeah.
It's one thing to be winning right now. It's another thing to be like, well, every time I've showed up in every car I've driven.
Yeah, he the best display of his skills. We're at Putnam Park, and probably a nice little club track in Indiana, and it was raining really hard, and he's got a Corvette, and he goes out first because he's leading the event, and he sets a time. And the rain stops. And it doesn't take a brain surgeon to figure out that when the rain stops, the track dries out, and the times get faster.
Yeah, track gets faster.
Yep. At the end of the day, Tomo still had FTD. So, if that's not an indication
FTD, fastest time of the day.
Yep.
So, in the rain.
In the rain.
In a rear-wheel drive Corvette.
Right. Albeit a fast one, but not any faster than any cars out here today.
Right, yeah. That says a lot about the driver confidence.
That's pretty much my point, yes. But, obviously horsepower plays a part, but the top 10 teams right now are all the really good drivers. There's nobody in there that hasn't got a lot of laps.
Certainly. That's all fun. Is there... a track that you have gone to that is now closed or defunct that you really miss the most, or would like to, if it came back, you get to pick one.
Well,
You personally.
I mean, a track that closed. I mean,
or maybe an old lap. I don't know. It's not a question. I just came up with it.
I mean, we ran IRP, International Indianapolis Raceway Park, for years. It was really convenient, and it was kind of a fun track, and we had a lot of stories there, and it also allowed us to do a drag race at the same time. You know, it was pretty treacherous. You couldn't run in the rain because of the VHT, but nonetheless,
VHT?
the traction compound for drag racing.
Oh, okay.
He utilized the drag strip, and it got pretty iffy in the rain.
I imagine.
But as far as, I'm trying to think of tracks that have closed. The tracks that have closed recently are in the process of reopening.
Heartland Park's coming back. Kind of excited about that.
Yeah, and it's not one of my favorite tracks, but it's a nice facility. And Memphis was another one that was not a great track, but it was right in the place in the country that I needed. But really, there really haven't been that many track closures that have affected our event.
Okay.
I mean, you know, the major ones are still there, and more keep popping up. So
That's cool.
Yeah.
There is a narrative that racetracks are closing all over the country and racing is...
Well, some are. I mean, most of the tracks that are closing are drag strips and short tracks.
Okay.
And it used to be there was 600 short tracks and 600 drag strips scattered around the country. That number has fallen off considerably. You know, there's so much more to do. Racing is expensive. The land becomes more valuable. You know, racetracks succumb to the same pressures. But I'm trying to remember the ones that have closed because.
Well, I mean, it's...
I know.
It's kind of a moot
I mean,
point.
you know, Second Creek closed in Denver, which is not really one of my favorite racetracks. Mountain View and Denver also closed because of property values. It does happen, but again, most of them don't affect me.
Okay. Yeah, I have a very small lens that I can see through, and so the internet being such a big place, depending on who's feeding you what information, there's...
I mean, there's certainly a lot of historic tracks that are long gone, but those have been gone way before Marlboro has been gone for 50 years.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah.
You know, and
So
others.
I don't even know.
I
What
mean,
track
Macon, Georgia had its own racetrack in the 50s.
Okay. That's not a very big spot.
No, it's not, but it had
Well,
parts.
neither is Hallett, so you know.
Parts of the track are still available, and Bridgehampton.
Okay.
I mean, Riverside. You know, Riverside is now a Home Depot. Well, as a Home Depot in turn now.
Yeah.
But there's, I mean, those tracks are kind of nice, and I was lucky to drive Riverside years and years ago, but I never got to I went to Bridgehampton as a kid to watch a Can-Am race, but that was 1966.
Cool.
But
that
was a long time ago.
Yeah, that's a while ago. That's before my time, certainly. Outside of the event that you're doing now, are there any other events that you look forward to, you like to participate in, or is there anything on the horizon that you're looking forward to?
Well, we're trying. If the economy and the chaos doesn't, the craziness subsides a little bit, we're trying to organize a West Coast one lap.
Ooh.
So we started in Las Vegas in I think the 23rd of October, and then go to Pahrump, and there's a racetrack there, then to Willow Springs, Laguna Seca, to Thunder Hill, to Oregon Raceway Park, down to Buttonwillow, and I may not have the right order.
Sure, but all of those.
Yeah.
What a ride.
So, but West Coast has always been a challenge for us because you don't have the impact there. And they also have so much to do that there's, and then you add $9 a gallon gas prices.
No doubt.
And that kind of works against us. But we'll see what happens. Sure. But as far as, no, I stopped racing years ago. when I stopped teaching, when the cars got faster than the drivers were capable of dealing with, um, and faster than I was willing to assume a risk.
When was that?
Oh, it was about, I don't know, 8 or 10 years ago.
About 10 years ago. So 2010s.
Yeah, later than that, but yeah, it was, no, that's 15 years, that's 16 years ago. So it was, I don't know, about 8 or 10 years ago, and I just said, screw it, these people are stupid.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I mean, when I started, you had slow cars, and you learned in slow cars, and you kind of bumped up to fast cars. Now, with the rolling, the amount of excess play dollars for certain classes, they just buy a GT350 or something.
Something with some real power.
Yeah, and they say, okay, teach me how to drive it. And you don't have the skill set, you don't have the background, you don't have the reflexes, you've never read a book about driving, you may have done a couple of sims, but you never worked up to it. There's no background to draw from to teach.
Sure.
99% of the country can't drive a manual anymore. And of that 1%, only a very few can use the 3 pedals simultaneously to shift smoothly and downshift smoothly, let alone upshift smoothly.
Sure.
And smoothness is the key to the game in racing.
Yes.
And driving quickly.
Smooth is fast.
Yeah. So, and if you don't match your shifts and you come into a corner, the rear tires are skidding, slow, and causing the car to be a little bit out of sorts. When that happens, it can get ugly pretty quickly.
Yes, sir.
So I'm old school. I don't do floppy paddles. I don't do automatics, and I don't teach where there's no background.
You don't teach someone with no background. It's cool.
So
it's good to know. That anybody at home that's watching this, that should tell you where you need to be at. It's going and buying the biggest, fastest car doesn't give you the skill set you need to drive it. So.
Go buy a little Miata or a Mini or something you can learn in. If you roll up at a ball, you're not gonna lose your life savings. And not only that, without all those nannies in there, every time you make a mistake, you feel it. And when you feel it, you learn what to do. Okay, if you start feeling the car kind of walk off a little bit, you have lots of options besides closing your eyes and screaming. Or waiting for the little nanny, the little yellow light to come out and say, oh, I saved your life, keep going. You can breathe the throttle. You can add more throttle in the front wheel drive car. You can steer harder and pitch it. I mean, there's all kinds of things that the more you know, the more options you have. And those are the things that come into play at speed that most people don't have in the back of their mind.
Certainly. There's just, too many other, Keith Code, I listen to him, I do motorcycle racing, and so when they're teaching about you have $10 to spend and that's your attention. And so for a new driver that doesn't have the background, they're using all of their attention on things that they're learning in the moment, and so they don't have any extra money to spend on resolution for what it would be.
Well, I was never a good driver. I mean, a racer. I didn't care. I just was out for fun. But I had a lifetime of understanding and learning and developing, certain skills. And I remember I was out on qualifying in a Neon at Summit Point.
A Dodge Neon?
Dodge Neon. And it was a long time ago. And I tried a different line through the carousel. And the carousel is just a straight around curve. And for some reason, I thought turning in early might be fun. So I did. Well, of course, as any asshole knows, turning in early is never a good idea on a quarter. So I always came to towards the end of the carousel, the loop, and I ran out of track. Surprise, surprise. And I'm running pretty quickly. I'm in qualifying. Well, I've got a couple of choices. I said, either I turn harder, maybe I could just spin out, maybe I go upside down. Or maybe, like I tell everybody else in the situation, I just point the car off in the grass under control and drive up to the next corner. Well, I lifted, which is never really a good idea in a front wheel drive car, because all of a sudden my steering went away.
Yeah.
And well, I quickly got back in the throttle, and there was a little jump where the driveway was that I was crossing, and leapt over the top, stayed on the throttle, drove right back on track. And mind you, my thought processes were basically in the time I talked, but it all happened like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So again, that's what I'm talking about with background.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you think this isn't working. Why is it not working? Oh, because I'm an idiot and I lifted.
Yeah. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
Yep. It's...
You know. So, you know, again, I'm not saying that everybody should learn how to, you know, drive through the grass with a jump.
Do you know how high your car went? I'm sure in the car it felt like 10 feet.
I don't know, but I remember we were at IRP, International Indianapolis Raceway Park, and you come off the drag strip, and there's a long right-hand loopy corner, and we had a Mustang from, I think it was Pirelli, and he goes around and he falls off the corner.
So
yeah,
okay.
and he's gone. We just don't know where he is. And all of a sudden, we see, whoop,
Yo,
and whoop.
full send up the embankment.
No, you just see there was some sort of road or something,
Sure.
and he drives back on the racetrack and continues. And so, you know, that's the best one we've ever seen, but that was not me.
Not you.
That wasn't me.
That's awesome.
But no, you know, one lap has a bunch of stories like that, but most of them are very friendly. Most of them, you know, are fun. Most of them we laugh about. But you know, everybody has to have a few driving schools to show up. I tell people the more schools you have, the more you know, the faster you go, the safer you'll be.
Yes.
And the driving schools are key. And so the cars have gotten so fast, so now I've added a whole bunch of safety equipment to keep them even safer.
That's right. You should let me bring my motorcycle out.
I should kill you first.
All right. Well, you know, I tried. No.
Because, first of all, we have a 2-driver minimum, and it just, no.
Okay, fair.
Nothing personal.
No, it's all right. Obviously, it's not personal.
No,
You've got great reasons.
I've had this inquiry for many, many years.
All right.
And actually, one of the first ones last, so we did have a Yamaha team try to do it with switching off drivers from a band, and it was a little chilly leaving wherever we left from that year, and they lasted one leg and quit. But I do have to go.
Yep. No. Thank you for your time.
I got to go organize,
It's been wonderful.
chase some cats and things like that.
You bet, man.
Oh,
Well, thank you for your time. I
Thank
greatly
you.
appreciate
Appreciate it.
It's been wonderful.
and if you need to edit it,
Oh, I will.
don't
I'll take
worry,
off the phone.
don't worry about making me sound smart.
You're articulate and well spoken, and that's enough.
Yeah.
And you spent time with me, and I've been a fan of Cannonballing for a long time, and I watch every VinWiki story they have on it, and
Ed Bowling is one of the nicest people in the whole world.
I can't wait to meet him. I hope really that I get the opportunity to. He's
He's genuinely a nice guy.
my role model.
Yeah.